Okay, fine. So I will share my slide and just you see whether it is proper. Yes. Are you able to get?
Yes, sir, but please go to full slide share mode, sir.
Yeah, I will go to slide share mode, but first, whether you are able to get, yeah, it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So, good morning again. So, I hope that the students are all are there. I request all the students to be regular in this course, and you know that in case if you find that I am going too fast, a student can interrupt and then ask whatever way I can accommodate. So this is your seventh semester, I understand, and the course code is D4, correct? Title of the course is Satellite Technologies. Means you should hear here mostly about the satellite, how to build the satellite, and so on. It's a 3 credit course. The lectures will be on Wednesday and Thursday, and the timing are on Wednesday it is 9:45 to 10:25 and 10:55 to 11:35. If you people want to continue, you want to break, you can have a break. Otherwise, you can continue also, whatever way is convenient to the student. On Thursday is a 10:55 to 11:35 and 11:40 to 12:20. So weekly there will be 4-hour lectures. Okay. Now here, what I have arranged, you know that's anyway I will go through the different technologies. So there could be a various faculty who are expert in different domain. They will be delivering the lecture. Okay. So and as far as the notes are concerned, whatever PPTs I am presenting, that we can share. Okay. Let us go to what is this here? Okay. Let us go to that my background. I'm Tech from IIT Kanpur, PhD from ISC Bangalore, and I worked in ISRO in designing the satellites. I was also director R&D and professor in information science, computer science, both in PS University and Dayanand Sagar University. And uh, if students are aware, PS University has launched a student satellite called PISAT. I was involved quite a lot. In fact, I started in PS University that satellite technology course as well as the lab and so on. So a lot of things we did. Karthik, how can I hide this one? Okay, fine. Okay, so my contact, I will just correct it. My email, I have not, I think, just put it, okay. Though Karthik will be a coordinator for all our activities, but you can have my email and I would request Karthik to send me a group email of students so that we can communicate to the students. Okay. Now, are you able to, any student can respond that are they able to see everything?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, good. So this is as far as your syllabus is concerned. The main objective of this course is understand the function of spacecraft system. Students must be hearing a lot of things about the satellite. Here we interchangeably use the word satellite and spacecraft. Both are same. And we will also use or we will also apply orbital mechanics formula and tools to spacecraft mission design. Now, orbital mechanics is very, very important part of the any of the satellites, which deals with how to launch the satellite in a particular orbit and how to know its characteristics. Now, one way is that using the formula, one can write the complete orbital mechanics software. But nowadays, there is several advancement. There is a toolkit is available that is called STK, Satellite Toolkit, by which you can simulate several orbital conditions and study the satellite behavior. You can have a mission design and so on. It is fun to have such kind of thing. So we will request student to download satellite toolkit, which is available as a student version. And probably after 2 weeks, once that orbital mechanics and payload related work is over, presentation is over, we will request one expert who has been using this toolkit at least couple of lectures so that the student can simulate the mission. So he will take some training example and then should able to simulate the mission profile. Now, satellite is one part, but another thing what you should understand is satellite, how to launch the satellite, okay? What are the different payloads, how to evaluate the performance and so on. Not that everything may be dealt in the very detail, because the tail is a very big subject. Each topic is a separate course. But however, you will get a glances of everything so that those students want to pursue in a particular domain, they can continue to do that. What we expect the outcome from this course, spacecraft or system performance, and then trade-offs. Okay, how to design the thing, what are the things to be selected, and so on. And we may able to estimate the overall space system cost and subsystem performance, as he says, that the trade-off of subsystem and optimize its performance for cost or weight reduction. That probably some part I will come back. Okay. Now, the course contain 5 modules. The first module is mission planning, analysis, and design. There we will deal particular this topic, nanosatellite, just satellite in general. Then we'll go in detail of the mission aspect. Okay. So 8 lectures are planned for this thing. There are certain things which are to be added here is the system engineering. Any system, whether it's a satellite or ground-based system or any system, start with the system engineering. So the first lecture after my today's lecture, tomorrow I will follow system engineering. Means without getting into the too much detail of this thing, overall, how to design your satellite, how the requirements to be captured, what are the system to be selected. So we will not, in the system engineering, we will not go into the detailed design. We should say that which kind of system is most suitable for particular applications. Okay. Then we will go for the mission aspect. And another thing which was part of any satellite design is attitude and orbit control. So I have also requested to add that particular thing. Without that, the satellite development is not complete, because without knowing the satellite attitude and orbit control, it is not fully, technology is not fully known. So that is what we like. As far as the other things are concerned, payload, the different kind of payloads we'll use. Some people will present about the optical payload, then communication payload, laser payload, and so on. Some of them I will give them as an assignment. Okay, so you people can cover the literature and then submit the assignment on any particular topic. You may have to give a 10 minutes presentation of each assignment. So you should prepare some not more than 10 slides for each. So that will be our assignment. Next is satellite structure and thermal control. So satellite, wherever we mount the satellite subsystems, you will understand more about the satellite subsystem, but we require physical foundation, like in house foundation, before we put some rooms and all those things, we require some foundation. So satellite structure is a foundation for mounting all the subsystem of the satellite. Thermal control aspect will be covered because the satellite temperature, if you go into the space, you will listen from thermal expert that the phase which is shining towards sun goes as high as several hundred degree, more than 100 degrees centigrade temperature, which is other side of this thing is a space temperature that is around 4 degree Kelvin. So there is an imbalance from different phases. If we make it this imbalance, the whole structure will deform. Apart from that, the many of the electronic devices what we use, and they will not function at such an elevated temperature. So there is a thermal control is required to make the satellite temperature is benign, somewhere between 25 degrees centigrade, maybe 20 to 30 degrees centigrade, so that all the components and structures and various aspects, they work very well. Then satellite, once it is launched, we have to communicate to the satellite. So communication system is also very, very important part. We will be communicating. Some of them I will repeat again to make you understand. Okay. So communication system is required to communicate from ground to the satellite. This is required for communicating, sending the command to the satellite, downloading the satellite data, its a payload data, and so on. And digital electronics is placed, in fact, we can say is a digital computer which is placed in the satellite, plays most of the computational work. And RF system will be a part of the communication system, because from ground, this is mostly, it is transmitted as a RF signal and then received as a RF signal. So that will be a part in the communication systems will be dealing with. Okay. Then see what we design, many of the things, most of our students, they design the system, they make it prototype, but they are not worried about the reliability aspect. But once you launch a satellite, there is no course correction possible in the system design. So we have to design for the reliability. So how we design for the reliability? We have to follow certain standards, which are well established by NASA, ESA, ISRO, and various other space agencies. So those aspects, it is very, very important. These aspects are normally not covered in any of the subject, any of the course. So it is necessary to understand this part particular for the high reliable system design. Why it is required? Because once the satellite is launched, there is no question of repairability. Anyway, I will come back again briefly about this thing. There are various softwares available. Some of university software, some are commercial software. As I mentioned to you, there is a SDK software student can download and study about the various subsystem of the satellite. This is what the total course content, there are one or two aspects which is not covered here, which we will introduce if time permit, is the power system design. It's very, very important. Nothing will work if there is no power. Okay. So if time permits, we will introduce couple of lectures. Otherwise, at least one lecture, uh, 1 hour, we will plan for power system. Such kind of thing, if anything else is missing, that also we will try to incorporate. We might take one or two extra classes to cover up this thing, cover up whatever is not mentioned in the syllabus. Our idea is students should understand the complete aspect of satellite design. Means when he or she goes to some industry and he say, I have done a satellite course, should understand everything, whatever it is there. Though they may not be very expert in the designing, but at least you know that how to design. That is what our main objective. Okay. Now, as far as the textbooks are concerned, several materials are available online, so that we have taken. But I would request that the student should purchase a book, Quintessence of Nanosatellite Technology. It is written by various experts in satellite area, and you can probably approach your department. They have a full details where how to purchase and all those things. Student, how many students are there, Karthik? How many students are present? Anybody is there online?
Sir, 28, sir. 27.
Yeah. So maybe, okay. So students can approach the department and then we can. There are other reference books, but they are only for the specific purpose one can do. But I have seen also one more book written by some Indian authors. Okay. That also I will try to get that information. So those who are interested, they can buy that book. But most of the details, what is taken, is given in this textbook. As far as the evaluation scheme is concerned, which is suggested by your department, that there will be a first test, which will be a descriptive test, 5 questions, A and B, 50 marks, which is scaled down, which will be scaled down to 20 marks. Okay. Second test will be computer-based examination, multiple choice question. That will be of 30 marks, and it will be scaled down to 15 marks. Okay. Then, and this 10 number of 1 mark question, 10 number of 2 mark question, and so on. I hope this pattern could be the similar to whatever you are doing in other course. Final exam will be descriptive exam for 100 marks. It will be scaled down to 40 marks. Okay. Then the last portion is very, very important. If you do well, okay, that is seminar, assignment, a small project. We will try to make some small project also, so that you can devote some time, and then assignment also will be given, and that carries 25 marks. That will be a good thing if a student they perform. I say it will be a good scoring thing if they perform well. Okay. So this is what the overall about the course. Any question, student? Tell your name and then ask the question.
Sir, this is Anirudh, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah,
final descriptive exam for 100 marks is external, sir, or internals?
internal means all your university exams are internal only, no?
Yes, sir. But finally, in December month, we have external, no, sir, for 100 marks.
No. There is no, Karthik, there is no external exam, no? No, I don't think what way your other courses are having exam. It will be a similar way.
Anil sir is speaking about final exams, which we wrote for 100 marks.
Oh,
Say
okay, sir.
again.
Okay, sir.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other person? Please tell your name and then ask the question. Okay. So I hope for all the people, all overall background of this course and how what are the things we will learn in this course and how the evaluation scheme and everything I have explained. I hope everything is clear to you. And moreover, I will pass on my all the slide to Professor Karthik. You can coordinate and then they can get all the information. Okay. Now, so I will probably describe very briefly. There could be a repetition. My email and other thing which I gave in beginning itself, you can note down. I will very briefly touch upon the different technologies, though I have told informally something, but more formally. And the details of which I may not give here, but depending upon the different lectures, you will hear the detail. Now, students are having the background only in mechanical, or are they having background in electronics, electrical as well? Can anybody respond?
Sir, only related to aerospace, sir.
Aerospace means, do you study any electronics part?
Yes, sir. Avionics. This semester we are learning avionics.
Avionics is there, good. And mechanical already structure and everything must be there.
Yes, sir.
Mechanical analysis and all those things. Okay, what kind of package do you use?
Sir, for FEA answers, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, so you can do. So let me just very briefly tell so that you will understand overall. That could be a many times repetition of what one person is telling with the other lectures, but it will give a quite good um, overview of your system as well as the understanding of the system. Okay. Now let us consider the satellite. What is a satellite? The spacecraft or satellite, which is, it has got two components. Okay. One is called the payload. What we call payload? Payload, which, like you are traveling in a bus. Okay. Bus is a satellite and passengers are payload. Means bus is carrying the passengers and it is meant for serving the passengers. So now you can understand with this analogy, spacecraft is serving for payloads and spacecraft subsystems, say called the spacecraft bus, provide or facilitate to work the payload. Okay, what are the different kind of payloads we use? And it is not limited, and that is where the lot of innovation could be. That some of the standard payloads which is being used, and many of them, of course, are not listed here, but several things are there. Earth resources, very commonly. You must have heard, all the students must have heard Indian remote sensing satellites. That is for Earth resource satellite. Okay, that could be a one band or multispectral band or several things. So you can find out what are the different crops are available. You can have a different mountain, rivers, and so on. Okay, so you can some sort of cartography work also you can carry out. Another very important thing is the meteorology aspect. Another, meteorology is very important. Nowadays, you must have seen several times the disaster takes place. Disaster in terms of uh, some sort of cyclone or landslide, and so on. But particular meteorology things predicts when the cyclone is going to come. You must have heard several times recently there was a cyclone in Orissa side, Bengal side, and so on. But all those warnings they come in advance because of the meteorology payload. And you can see the advantage of this meteorology payload is you can save several lives. Many of people might have been not born when there was a heavy cyclone in Andhra, coastal Andhra, and several thousand people died in that cyclone because there was no advanced prediction possible that time. So nowadays you hardly hear few death or no damage to the human being. Of course, property you can't shift. If there is a building because of cyclone, it may impact, but at least a human being you can save. Humankind you can save from the cyclone on any disaster condition. Okay. Then another important aspect which we realize in our day-to-day life is a communication systems. Now, communication system, can anybody respond that where we use satellite in the communication, which is very common to all the, for everybody. Have you
Sir,
heard
telephone.
anything? Huh?
Telephone, sir.
Telephone is one. More often.
GPS.
GPS, yes, that is also important. What we see every day, evening.
Broadcast
Do
TV.
you see TV? Huh? Do you see TV? Okay. Television is another aspect which we have a communications systems. And GPS, yes, is becoming almost like every phone. Telephony, it is right now the satellite telephone is not so, they are very expensive. They are not used so often, but in some cases like some of the area, they are using satellite telephone as well. Okay. There could be various other payloads, laser-based payload, or depending upon the mission, your payload could be, if you are going for the moon mission, you may have a different imaging payload. If you are going for some other mission, interplanetary mission, you will have some scientific payload. Okay, you want to study the ultraviolet sources in the sky, you want to study any other sort of astronomical phenomena, such kind of payloads one can plan. I hope you must have heard the Chandra Observatory, Hubble telescope, and so on. They do astronomical experiment. Okay, so such kind of things are added further to the payload condition. And now, given the payload, the satellite has to design for that requirement. What it mean by design to that requirement? Suppose you are using for Earth imaging, a simple scheme I'm telling. You want to take a picture of Bangalore. So our satellite should be pointing towards Bangalore to take the picture. If we are not pointing towards Bangalore, if we are pointing towards, say, Mysore, then you will not get a picture of Bangalore. That is one part, pointing. Apart from that, there is some sort of jitter. If you take a camera in hand, you shake camera, though you are pointing a particular location, but if you are shaking the camera will not give the correct picture. It will be a jittery picture, or what I should say, hazy picture. Okay, so spacecraft has to be designed for such kind of thing. What kind of payload, what kind of power requirement to the payload, that one has to understand. How to accommodate in the payload, that one has to understand that part. So spacecraft system, and which many time in some of the books we say spacecraft bus. Okay, it designed to cater the requirement of payload. Okay, now what are the bus major systems consisting of? As I mentioned, that you have to communicate the satellite from ground, sending the command and getting the data. So that is the telemetry and telecommand system. So in some of the lectures, you will listen more details about the command and telemetry, and then what you will listen here is when you are sending the command, they are always encoded commands. Okay, it should not happen that some terrorist they also command your satellite. So then it will be a problematic conditions. So that is what the telecommand telemetry system is monitoring the satellite data. See, if you want to monitor the health of a satellite, you require some means for getting the data from the satellite. So telemetry is a channel which provides the information from the satellite, its temperature, its environment, its various output of the sensors, and so on. Okay, various activities, what is taking place on the satellite system. So that provides in the telemetry. Apart from that, there will be a payload data. Like some cameras are there. Some cases, the information is passed directly to the ground and processed. Some cases, they are processed onward and then design, their compressed data is passed on to the ground. So that is what the payload data comes. But on what frequency they are transmitted and all those things, we'll study that part. Then the important aspect of this thing is structure. As I mentioned to you, that satellite system are to be mounted in a structure. Okay, what kind of material one should use, what kind of design one should use, and such kind of thing are required. Many of the satellites, they require a deployment mechanism. Deployment for what purpose? Like solar panel. Deployment for satellite antennas and so on. Okay, so mechanism are required to deploy those things. Now, some cases it is like a fixed deployment. Some cases it is a rotary or dynamic movement of the mechanism. That probably will also hear. Then, as I mentioned, the various aspect of this thing is thermal control. Now, thermal control is primarily done by two means, by passive means and by active means. The passive means like various thermal coatings, some insulation cover. Okay, insulation also you will hear like in winter season we use quilt and all those things to minimize the heat loss or heat coming from outside. Okay, such kind of thing one can use insulations. And then it provides a compartment between the two different temperature environment. Other is the active control. Active control is mostly done by use of the thermistor as a sensor or thermocouple as a sensor, some temperature sensor, and then heaters where we require to heat the particular area. Okay. Another, as I mentioned to you, that important, no system will work unless we provide a power in the system. So how to generate the power in a satellite? The primary source of the power is sun. How to convert? I think in your avionics you must have studied that you take the sun power, use solar cell. Nowadays solar cell by avionics in household also solar cells are coming. Okay, solar panels. So directly they take the solar energy convert into the electrical energy. And then electrical energy can be used for driving the various subsystems. Of course, structure directly doesn't require, but thermal, telecommand, telemetry, and other aspect, other component, which are electronics component, they require that. So this is how we receive the power. Then another one is distribution of power. That is called the power control electronics. So once we receive the power, we have to distribute to the different subsystems. So that is what the full power electronics is involved. But however, you may be surprised, if I get a solar power, why do I need a battery? Okay. So for this battery purpose, and why we need a battery? Battery is required for storage. Now each of these satellite, they undergo several times solar eclipse. Like in what happens on our Earth when there is a solar eclipse. Sun rays will not directly reach to us, but it happens very rarely on our Earth. Whereas the satellite, if you consider that near Earth satellite, different type of satellites, they almost go each orbit may be order of 90 to 100 minutes orbit, they undergo eclipse for 20-30 minutes. So what to do? If power is not there, then no system will function. Then for that purpose, we require a battery. So battery is very, very important. It is sizing, how many ampere hour we need, that is very important. This battery, those who are aware, nowadays in solar panel based system and the household also, they are offline system. There we also use battery, because night time, if you want to get a power, you will not get power. So it requires storage. So that is what the storage. Apart from that, if there is a sudden high demand because of payload or because of any other means, so battery can support that condition. Then it comes as a propulsion. Now the propulsion is, now you can consider you are going in a car. An engine provides the muscle power for the movement, for the steering, for the correction. So similar way, propulsions are used in satellite. During the injection, rocket from the satellite is injected from the rocket, is required sometimes solid propellant, sometimes liquid propellant, sometimes what is required if it is launched in a particular orbit because of some condition, because of some requirement. If I have to change the orbit, you require propulsion. Then sometime it is, suppose we are launching a satellite in a particular orbit, because of the various disturbing forces, the satellite orbit keeps on changing. In order to maintain the satellite orbit for a desired one, you require some orbit correction maneuvers. Some case we also use the magnetic torques or magnetic coils for such kind of correction. Another important part of the satellite is attitude and attitude control system. Now, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, you are launching the satellite. If you are not pointing towards a particular area or particular direction, okay, then it may not serve any purpose. You want to study a particular star. What are the emissions coming from stars? You want to study. Okay, if you are not, satellite camera is not pointing towards that, okay, you may not have sensible information. So satellite control is very, very important aspect. One is that for the controlling, you must have studied some cases. There are basically three elements. One is the sensor. You should know where we are so that we can find out how far we are. So that is what is a sensor. Then based on what is the desired place or desired value and the actual value based on the difference. There are certain control algorithms you will study, and that control algorithm provide the actuating signal to third element, which is actuators. Actuators, the multiple type of actuator which provides the torque. Normally in the satellite, we always consider error as a attitude error. These in the angular errors. Okay. So angular errors can be corrected by generating the torques. So what are the elements used for these actuators are? One is thrusters. Okay. Thrusters are like an injector based on Newton's third law. Okay. If you inject a high thrust fume, it gives the opposite thrust. And they are mounted in such a way in the structure that it produces the required torque. Okay. Which can correct the satellite attitude. Other is called reaction wheels. Those who have studied that mechanics, they know if I rotate a wheel, okay, if I change the wheel speed, it creates rotation of the body in opposite direction in order to keep the total angular momentum constant. So such kind of thing is carried out by reaction wheels or sometimes momentum wheels. Okay, they are all storage. Apart from that, some of the near Earth satellite, even geosynchronous satellite also for typical application, they use magnetic torquers. You know, if you must have studied during your high school course, magnetic theory course, if I suspend a magnet, freely suspend a magnet, it will try to align on Earth magnetic pole. So they create the torque. How it creates? They try to align and that in terms create the torque. And the torque is mathematically represented by M cross H. H is a magnetic field, M is the magnetic moment of the magnet. So that this part also in control theory, attitude and orbit control, if time permits, we will study. Okay. So these are the various aspects of a spacecraft system. There are plenty of other things also, but that you will study slowly and slowly over a period of different lectures. Okay. Now, before I proceed to further, I will ask a feedback from students whether this speed is okay, or I should go fast, or I should go slow. What is their comment? Anybody?
Sir, Anirudh sir, it's fine, sir.
Okay. Huh? So you are able to get any questions? Anybody? Any curious question also you can ask. Some silly questions also you can ask. If I know, I will answer. Of course, related to topic. Okay. Anybody? Now, before I proceed, okay, I will try to complete some couple of slides. After that, if people want some 5 minutes break, I can give 5 minutes break. There is no problem. So, whatever we have talked in this slide, they have represented pictorially here, graphically, you can see here, the whole spacecraft system has two compartments. One is payload compartment, other is a bus compartment. So that is what we have studied, and the different payloads, communication, remote sensing, scientific or meteorology or various kind of thing. Where the bus system, power system, communication, attitude and orbit control, thermal control, propulsion, structure, and so on. This is what we have seen. Pictorially, we can represent such kind of information. Okay. Now, before we go into today's main topic is nanosatellite, we will just talk about few things, how the satellite design starts. What is the design driver? As I already mentioned to you, satellite payload decide what kind of satellite design you need. Okay. If it is a communication, what kind of communication bandwidth you need, what kind of pointing requirements are there, what is the frequency of operation, and if it is for earth imaging, what kind of camera pointing requirements, jitter requirements, and something. Similarly, for other satellite. So, what is, as I mentioned to you earlier, the satellite design drivers are payload. Okay. As analogy with our buses are designed to make passenger comfortable as per the passenger requirement. Similarly, satellites are designed to make the payload comfortable, or in other words, to meet the payload requirements. Okay. Then, as mentioned, that based on the payload requirements, you require a different subsystem, which we have already mentioned. Now, each subsystem should follow a certain standards, and which are evolved over a period of several decades by NASA, ESA, ISRO, and various other space agencies. Okay, so that is what the thing is required. Now, apart from that, one more part which I would like to mention, this is the spacecraft system, but equally complex systems are required at the ground to receive and transmit the data to the satellite. What we transmit data to the satellite is mostly commanding, and receiving is a satellite housekeeping data and payload data. So, and such kind of transmission has to be decoded at the ground and distributed to the user. Okay, like if we have ground station at the big ground here, then we can receive for our, like for ISRO satellites, we have a ground station in Pinya, Bangalore, for remote sensing satellite. For communication satellite, we have a ground station at Hassan called the Master Control Facility Hassan. And after getting the data, they distribute the data to the various user if they are relevant to that. If they are command and telemetry related, then they are given to the expert. Unfortunately, this is the Corona period. Otherwise, we could have arranged one visit to a very, very interesting ground station which is used for our moon mission, which is on somewhere in Mysore Road, away from off the Mysore Road. Okay. Some of your earlier batch students, I think, went once, but we can arrange if students are interested. Let the Corona is over. And I hope by that time, though you may be in the 8th semester, but still you can request your coordinator Karthik, and we will try to make that arrangement, talk to their people, officials, and will make it's worth seeing what is the ground station. You will just see 32-meter antenna, how it tracks the satellite. Okay, fine. So that is what this thing is. Now, when we are designing any of the satellite subsystem, we will now concentrate on the designing of the satellite system. You know, weight is a prime constant. You should minimize the weight of the system. If you can save 1 kg of weight, you save 1 kg of the mass of the satellite, which is a physical mass. Then accordingly, the cost of the launch vehicle, normally the launch cost in terms of so many dollars per kg, so many rupees per kg. If you reduce per kg, it is it will save quite a lot. Okay. Our earlier chairman, Professor U.R. Rao, used to tell, if you save 1 kg, you are saving 1 kg of gold. And these are only very rough comparison, but that kind of cost it saves. Okay. Volume, it is required. You don't have all the flexibility like in the ground system. You can have a very, very large system. And that is what volume is required to be minimal, because if volume is less, your structure weight will be less, your total size will be less, you can have a multiple launch vehicles and so on, so that they can accommodate your satellite. Now, other constraint is the power. Like we have a power available in the ground plenty, but in satellite it is generated by the solar panel, which has got a limited capacity. And if you require large power, you require large number of panels, large area for the panel. That means your satellite size also will become more. So that is very important. Other aspect, though these are the constraint in design, but the satellite design always first consider is a reliability. Nothing at the cost of reliability. Okay. Why? Because it is irreparable. Once it is a launch, it is irreparable. Okay. Though there are certain space agencies, they are able to grab the satellite, bringing back and then repairing and again sending back, but very, very costly affair. Okay. So design reliability is one important. Of course, this is applicable for the big satellite. Nowadays, for the nano satellite, little concept is more. They design the redundant satellite, because each satellite itself order of 1 kg or 2 kg. Rather than putting the redundancy in the satellite, you can put redundant satellite itself. When one satellite fails, you take other one. But however, if there is a design fault, even if you tell 100 satellite, all satellite will fail. So that reliability plays still very, very important aspect in those things. Okay. However, when you say university satellite and so on, it is sometimes is not considered. It is launched for a very, very short duration. Now, apart from that, we have to design for the environmental considerations. What is environmental consideration? When you put a satellite in a launcher, there will be heavy vibration. All the system should withstand those lines vibration. So that is very, very important aspect. Okay. Of course, there are some methods and there are some standards for all, how much should withstand the vibration and so on. So that is very important aspect. Apart from that, thermal aspect, as I mentioned earlier, there will be a temperature difference from one side to other side. And sometimes the temperature may shoot up. So our device should able to withstand that much. Normally, we try to maintain the temperature somewhere between 20 to 30 degrees. But however, our design should qualify upper side as a 60 to sometimes 75 degree, mostly 60 degrees, and lower side somewhere around 25, 35, minus 25, 35 degrees centigrade, depending upon the requirements. Now, apart from that, the one consideration comes in the ground. We have all the means of communicating the heat. But in vacuum, though you studied the vacuum flask and all those things, if there is a vacuum, there is no direct heat transfer. It is only by radiation. The amount of heat transfer becomes very, very less. So what one carries out, we design the system and we put in the thermal vacuum chamber and study its performance. what happens here when we design a system, if there are particular area in any of the system, it dissipating more heat, it generate heat spots. Probably, I think thermal person will deal quite a lot in this aspect. So that is one thing. Apart from these are things very well known for many of the things. However, cosmic radiation is one important aspect in the satellite design. We are lucky we are surrounded by atmosphere, and most of the cosmic radiations, okay, they are absorbed or reflected or not allowed to pass to us by atmosphere. Whereas one satellite is always above the atmosphere, all those cosmic particles they come and hit to all our satellite systems. Particular for electronics, if a cosmic particle comes, it may damage the electronics devices or it may malfunction temporarily electronic devices and so on. For this purpose, various semiconductor industries, they developed some technique to design the semiconductor which can withstand this cosmic radiation. But however, a cost of such device is very high, and that is how the satellite cost goes up. Just to give you one example, a controller, which is very, I think many of the people may be knowing, Arduino controller or any microcontroller, which is available in 100 to 200, 300 rupees. If you go to KR market and purchase that one. But similar controller, if you want to have for the satellite application, which should withstand cosmic radiations and so on, it will cost several $1,000. I know one component what we are use is $10,000. $10,000 means how much? 10,000 means it becomes like a 10 lakhs rupees each component, which we can get in hundreds of rupees here. And that is where. So this kind of component they call radiation hardened components. Okay. But in university or nanosatellite, people are, because of the cost consideration, they are reducing and providing more redundancy as a satellite system. Okay. Now, before I change the topic, nanosatellite, should we have some 5 minutes break? Or you want to continue?
5 minutes break, sir.
Okay, fine. Huh? So right now it is 10:50, 10:53. We'll start 11 o'clock sharp. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, 11 o'clock sharp we'll start. Huh? Then today we'll cover this nanosatellite. Okay? Okay, Karthik, I will keep this our meeting on so that again we don't have to spend time for again connecting and all those things. Okay?
Weight reduction has been the main driver in aviation innovation to minimize the environmental footprint. Current aircrafts are mainly made of fiber-reinforced polymer composites to reduce weight and carbon emissions.
Yeah, shall we start now? Karthik, are you there online? Shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. We'll start now again.
Okay, can start.
Okay. Now let us see where it is gone. I think I have to edit something. Something is happening. Again, I will share.
Hello,
I
sir.
will share.
There's one problem, I believe, sir. Okay.
Okay. Now, are you able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now,
it's visible.
so far I was just talking all very general thing. Now I am talking about very specific to nanosatellite, and that is where we'll do. So first, when we study nanosatellite, the question, what is nanosatellite? Okay. So if you see the literature, in very, very generic way, they talk. Loosely, any satellite is less than 10 kg. Okay. It can be 1 kg, 2 kg, or so on. But generally, the nanosatellite is not really like a nanoparticle, but it is like a very small satellite. Okay, we will see the classification also. So it is less than, say, 10 kilogram. And pioneer in this area, nanosatellite area, was CubeSat. There was a university, Surrey University in somewhere in Europe, UK or somewhere. Okay, they started doing this work. So they have taken as a very, very standard design for university applications as a CubeSat design. Maybe we'll again come back for this aspect. So that is for the consideration for their shape, size, weight, and all those things. Okay. The main objective of this nanosatellite is because their weight is less, volume is less, requirement is less, they are correspondingly inexpensive, means they are cheaper. Okay. But it is good enough for any university to study the satellite design work. Okay, so that is what the nanosatellite is. Now, in order to boost the nanosatellite in different universities and so on, the CubeSat standard, in terms of its structure, in terms of other system design and all those things, it becomes a open standard. Like in computer, you have a open standard architecture. Similar way, CubeSat also, they have a open standard architecture. Okay, many of them, if it is not required for like a long duration, or if it can withstand failures also, or for just study part, we can use the commercial part also. Different kind of new technology, if you want to try, one can try the new technology itself. And it primarily because it is inexpensive. See, if satellite, big satellite, which is a commercial satellite, costs say $500,000 or maybe more. Okay, but this satellite will be correspondingly less. Okay, so that is 500 million, not 1,000, 500 million. Okay, so this satellite is correspondingly low cost, and one can do some experiment. Even like in some university, students are designing their own ideas, okay, with respect to its payload, with respect to its controllability, with respect to its operations and so on, learning of the operations. They design for such kind of thing, and for a student, if it works for a couple of months, it is more than good enough. So that is what the area of nanosatellite. However, recently you might have heard that some of the US companies, they are deploying thousands of nanosatellites to have accessibility of internet in each and every part of the world. So one can explore those commercial aspect as well. Okay. Whatever. Okay. Then the CubeSat, particularly related to CubeSat, if I say, it comes in a various size. CubeSat, once it started as a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter cube. If you see this particular thing, that was one of the standard CubeSat when it started. And this unit is called 1U unit, 1U. And such kind of unit, you can stack horizontally, vertically. The design, structure design was such that you can design horizontal, you can add horizontally or vertically to make the meaningful satellite. But approximately one CubeSat was weighing around 1.33 kg or 1.5 kg or so. So the weight will increase. If you assemble this CubeSat in multiple units, obviously you will get a large area for the power production. Okay, large area for large volume for accommodating various subsystems and so on. Okay, various sensors and so on. So that is the consideration. Okay. Then, as earlier I already mentioned, that CubeSat standard are taken as a nanosatellite. Oh, if I will come back later in PISAT, as I mentioned to you, we have developed PISAT, but we have not followed the CubeSat standard because of certain considerations. Okay. So these standards one can use, and not only that, if we use this standard, one can use for the different launch vehicle, because once this is a standard, you can, a different launch vehicle, they can provide a launch adapter for the satellite, because satellite, once it is launched in a rocket, it requires a satellite adapter. Means which can interface between satellite and rocket. Okay, and deploy when it reaches to a required orbit height. So that is what is remaining. So this is what the major. So now, as the satellite we mentioned, the satellite CubeSat standard has become a very common. It can be productionized. It can be a different technology, and main idea is to reduce the cost of the satellite. So we will get the idea what is the cost of the satellite, what is the cost of big satellite. So that is what the aspect of the CubeSat. Why it is called CubeSat? Because it is a cubical, 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter. Of course, when it is expanded horizontally and vertical, that may not remain as a cube, but basic unit is a cube. And then we can call that as a 1U cube, 2U cube, and so on. Okay? Now, in comparison with conventional satellite, the CubeSat or nanosatellite, why we go for the nanosatellite? They are lesser in size. We have already discussed that part. The lower price, okay, and faster development, certain period. Okay, so that is what is very, very important aspect. Means why people go for the nanosatellite. Now, the question is asked, how big is a nanosatellite? Okay, this again depends, as I mentioned to you, is again depends upon type according to 1U, 2U, 3U, and so on, and its mass. So we will see the standard. Some more standards are coming up, what they call as a picosatellite, means further one level down is the pocket cubes, sun cube, tub sets, and sometimes they call palm set also. So various such kind of standard. Their idea is to make the satellite as much miniaturized as possible using the advanced technology. Now, why this advanced technology we cannot use in big satellite? I mentioned earlier, big satellite cost a lot, and any new technology, there is a definite risk. So commercially, it is not viable to get a new technology without for a risky environment. So rather, it provides a big risk for the big satellite because of the expensive production or expensive because of the large cost. But one can experiment this thing on an experiment basis on the nanosatellite because of the loss. Okay. Now, how much size? If I see the history of the satellite, which was launched, anyone knows? Which was launched in 1957 by USSR, Sputnik. Okay, that was weighing around 80 kg. And then later on 500 kg. Now, International Space Station, they call at 420 ton. Okay, so if I see the CubeSat, we are talking about less than 10 kg. So that is what the comparison with the big satellite. So if I take a big satellite, there will be some 50 kg, 100 kg, like our satellites, our ISRO satellites, they are minimum 100 kg, 150 kg, then there is a 1000 kg class, 2000 kg class, 4-ton class, and so on. Okay, so that is where the difference lies. Okay, now next, lower price. How much is the lower price? Because already I mentioned using the some of the why it become popular. See what is happening, and the satellite costs several millions dollar. Small company cannot compete with that one. Now CubeSat, somebody wants to go, some student wants to do this one, even with a lower cost. Okay, small companies, universities, they are able to participate in the technology, particular satellite technology. So that is what is, or it provides, facilitate, I should say, university, small companies, and many like voluntary societies to participate in the satellite technology area. Okay. Then short-term development. Normally, that the development cost is development time. It takes several years in big satellite, whereas the nano satellite, it takes maybe 8 to 10 months. So with the available technologies and available infrastructure, one can develop the satellite in 8 to 10 months. And so that somebody is having very nice idea, he will be very, very enthusiastic to carry out that work as, see the result as early as possible. So that is what is. Now, we just see how big is the nanosatellite. So, nanosatellite, anything weighs between 1 to 10 kilogram. And then becomes large satellite, which is giving more than 1000 kg, 1000 kg, weighing more than 1000 kg. Then medium size satellite, 500 to 1000 kg satellite. Okay, these are all different, but they are not nanosatellite. Nanosatellite is restricted to maybe 10 kg, but it could be 15, 20 kg also. But as a definition, it is less than 10 kg. Then further is a miniaturization in the satellite area, is mini satellite, which is 100 to 500 kg class, micro satellite 10 to 100 kg class, nano satellite 1 to 10 kg class, then pico satellite less than 1 kg. And that is what new standards are evolving, I mentioned. To very much surprise, some of the universities and company, they are developing a satellite. Can you imagine 1 square inch wafer? Whole satellite, of course, use will be limited use. Whole satellite, they are developed on the 1 inch satellite. In fact, physically, I have also seen my eyes. But such kind of what they have is like a mosquito type of thing. Say they put into a spindle hundreds of such kind of satellite, and then once they go in space, they simply spin so that each satellite goes out of that spindle, and they form a different some sort of cloud type of thing. Okay, so one can achieve the function of that. Now, if we make a satellite out of that kind of thing, 1 square inch area, you can imagine whatever may be the thing, production cost will be correspondingly very high. Of course, the way technology, and that is possible only because of the high technology. You can see the cell phone, when it was started, it was very bulky. But nowadays things are changing. Now the cell phone size is depending upon what we can see, also depends upon the capability. But there are miniaturized cell phone also. Okay. So a lot of technological advancement it adopts. It can take a lot of advantage to that area. Okay, so this is what the comparison between the nanosatellite and conventional satellite. Some more things which probably you will be curious to know. How long does it take? As I mentioned, the big satellite takes 5 to 10, 15 years. You must have heard. When we start designing the thing, there is certain standard to be follow, requirement to be understand, and so on. Whereas the nanosatellite is less than 8 to 10 months. If you really are working in that area, we can realize, because overall number of systems are very, very less. Okay, and they are miniaturized, of the shelf items are available, and so on. How much does it cost? A satellite can be 500,000 nanosatellite. Of course, depends upon what kind of payload. Is a major money goes for the payload, and then the conventional satellite will be 500 million. Means it is 1,000 times more. Of course, these are all number which are just indicative numbers. There is nothing like a 500,000. You can, if you are smart enough, you can make in $100,000. People are claiming they are making the satellite in $500. Of course, but sometimes it is a notional number. Okay, so this gives the idea that when the satellites are made, how much it may cost. Now, some fact, particular CubeSat, but it is not restricted to all nanosatellite. CubeSat, they are launched in the circular or near circular orbit, maybe elliptical orbits also. Okay, most of the the satellite orbit, once you will listen the orbital mechanics, most of the satellites they are in elliptical orbit, and or some cases they are very near to the circular orbit. It again depends upon eccentricity of the ellipse. Okay, one can decide that one. Normally they are launched on the lower altitude, okay, height from the earth, somewhere around 400 to 650 kilometers. Because the moment you go higher and higher, you require large power for communication. Okay, then you require more sophistication. Suppose you want to do remote sensing at 1,000 kilometers and remote sensing at 400 kilometers. Obviously, the camera will be simpler at what you are using at 400 kilometers. Okay, and so that is what is generally done. Okay. It's a lower launch in a lower altitude, and generally the orbit period for this CubeSat is around 90 minutes. Around 90 minutes. Not that exactly 90 minutes. It will be around 90 minutes. Now, it's very interesting to know such kind of satellite, if you are launching over India, okay, it will be in that polar orbit. It will have only 2 orbits visible over India. One morning, one night, evening. 2 means actually it is a 2, I should say 4 orbit. One is preparation orbit, other is a actual utilization orbit, 2 in morning, 2 in evening. But if you are taking a visible picture, evening orbits are no longer used. You can use for downloading the data and so on. So that is what the fact about the CubeSat satellite. Now, nowadays there is a collaboration among the different university is started. Like suppose any Indian university is launching a satellite. Okay. Then you have a one station at India, and you can utilize other university in other part of the globe launch station. And similar way, they can utilize your thing. That means your visibility will increase quite a lot for the satellite. A typical, just to know, a satellite travel in the space. How much speed? 8 kilometer per second. That means if we consider in terms of per hour, multiply by 36,600. So how much it comes? Quite a lot. Okay, that speed it travels. So you must have also come across that when the satellite travels such a speed and it comes inside the atmosphere, it burns out. It because of this reason. Very high speed, there is a very aerodynamic friction which generate heat, it disintegrate the satellite and burns out. But if you go higher and higher, that effect of atmosphere is reduced drastically, and that's the satellite will have a larger life. Lower Earth, if you launch a satellite in 200 or 250 kilometer, it may not survive for much time, maybe for 1 month or maybe sometime less also. The orbital mechanics person can compute using the effect of the atmosphere drag and various other conditions. They can predict how many months or how many days the satellite can survive. Okay. Now, as far as the procedures are concerned, suppose some students or somebody wants to, or some university wants to develop. Once the satellite is designed and developed and tested, it is ready for the operation. And then one has to evaluate the multiple launch vehicle. There are Chinese also launching, then SpaceX also launching, ISRO also, PSLV also, various companies. One has to find out which is the optimum agency which can provide your support for launching. As a lighter point, I would say, as I was mentioning, the payload is a passenger for satellite. Now here the satellite is a passenger for rocket launcher. So that is the thing one has to decide based on the cost, based on the which orbit they will give, what orbit you require to launch and make them, and what are the different facilities they have and so on. But nowadays there's some of the company they are coming micro launcher, because normally these are all earlier what I told the big launcher. They launch big satellite and associated small satellite also, like our PSLV. They launch IRS satellite and then this one. But same time they have launched hundred satellite, more than 100 satellite in a one launch. It's a small satellite. But nowadays some micro launchers are also coming up which can dedicatively launch the small satellite. What is the difference if you have multiple satellite and one satellite? See, each satellite should not interfere with others. Suppose you are launching two satellites in the same orbit, they may collide by no separation from the launcher, or the frequency limitation may come, frequency may interfere, or various other reasons could be. So it is preferred if a micro launcher is available, simply whenever your satellite, or another thing, if it is a multiple satellites, if out of say 10 satellite your satellite is not ready, then all 9 satellites have to wait. So such kind of constant, and that in internationally they put a lot of penalty for that purpose. So it is preferred to go for the micro launcher, but however still it has to come into the practice. But certainly the cost will be much lower than whatever we are talking. A typical configuration, a CubeSat configuration, you have a multiple cards, flight computer, some UHF, VHF for communication purpose. Of course, for nowadays, this particular UHF, VHF band is very, very crowded. So people go for the different band and so on, and different payloads and so on, solar panels and so on. And there is some antenna. Again, you can design your antenna and then put into the satellite. And this is a typical configuration of a CubeSat. Okay. Now, just to know how many satellites are there in the space. Every day, several satellites are being launched. This number may not be correct, but sometime it was 11,000 satellite, and now people are launching 1,000 satellites together, and this number is astronomically increasing because of this interest by the several university, and particular because of the nanosatellite application, because the cost is less, university can afford, and they can launch the satellite, they can study, their name also comes and so on. But it's all started, this launch satellites by Sputnik in 1957. And many business opportunities are also rising because of the nanosatellite. For somebody who was working on some of the radio occultation study, somebody for atmospheric moisture content, so many things. Really, opportunities are coming plenty. Sometime, very few aspects, another 5 minutes I will find out, that nanosatellites are also lying in the constellation, in number of satellites together. And if, as I mentioned, because of the low cost, you can launch large number, and each satellite provides a redundancy to the others. So that is what, and that thereby it provides a more reliable satellite systems, not the satellite alone, but number of satellite, whole satellite systems you provide. It can work for a couple of years. Apart from that, normally the lives are not very high. Any obsolete technology, normally in the satellite, if you are using one technology, if it is proven, nobody would like to change that technology. Whereas nanosatellite, life is less. You can experiment with a different satellite because of the cost consideration, time development, time consideration, and so on. You can immediately go for the newer technology. Now we'll take a very quick look, something we have already mentioned, where this CubeSat need not to tie up with the CubeSat, we should say nanosat. Okay, they can be used for Earth observation, communication and IoT, geolocation and logistic, signal monitoring, and scientific application. I will go through. Okay, Earth observation, everybody will know that taking the image of the Earth surface and then managing the data and interpreting the data, which can be used for agriculture, forest study, geologically, sea temperature, oil spill in the sea, wildlife counting, and several things. Okay. Communications and IoT, this is becoming day by day more popular in the nanosatellite area, particular Internet of Things. Everybody can have their own satellite, and they can communicate between one to other. Okay, as I mentioned also, this some company, they have taken thousands of satellite, small satellite, which are launching around the globe and in the constellation, and you can get internet without worry about the cable cut or without worry about the fiber cut and so on, directly from the satellite. Okay. Locating and geolocations and logistics. Locating and handling of asset means aircraft, ships, and all those aspects, because you have to find out the ship location. There is just something you will hear called the identification system, auto identification system, and it can be used for aircraft trafficking. Okay, any other global vision constellation, you can use immediately monitoring of any of the disastrous conditions. Suppose there is a landslide or there is a cyclone or there is something in Uttarakhand. Immediately some of the satellite can configure to carry out the study of that part and provide the data quickly. Now, many of these countries, okay, some are friendly countries, some are rogue countries, they are transmitting some of the signals. So, some of the satellites are put into the sky to monitor who are the countries, who are the places, what are the places you are transmitting unwanted communication signal. And in fact, sometimes it becomes a threat, terrorist threat for a country, that they are also using, but by this they can find out who are the culprits. Or some neighboring country, those who are not having good relation, we can monitor that other countries signal as well. So with that, one can interpret, like in what type of scenario radar is put in by enemy country. By using this, we can monitor where is the radar located. And such kind of thing becomes very handy. Scientific application, there is a numerous scientific application, astronomical, interplanetary mission, scientific study, UV rays. Some of the experiment people are doing biomedical research purpose, means they put some of the experiment in the satellite and study the biological or medical research in space, how it progresses. So such kind of thing. Or some places they are studying how to make a compound in the space and what will be its characteristic and so on. So this provide numerous opportunity to use such kind of nanosatellites. Okay. Now, lastly, we will have, just wanted to show you, this is one configuration of PISAT, what we have launched. And the characteristic of this PISAT, we have used a small camera called the NanoCam. And attitude and orbit control is primarily done by magnetic torquers using sun sensor, rate gyro, and magnetometer. 3-axis stabilized system. RF and communication is on S-band. As I told you, the VHF and UHF bands are very, very easy. Onboard computer was designed based on commercial AVR32 processor, okay, which has got a built-in E-square PROM. Telecommand data rate, very low data rate, 100 bit per second. But nowadays people can go for higher. But higher means again you have the system complexity also one has to study. Telemetry also is taken as a 10 kilobit per second. Power system, we use triple junction solar cell and lithium ion battery. Structure is designed by us, and everything is designed by us other than the camera. And this is aluminum structure, and thermal design was carried out using active control, like using some heaters and thermistors. Ground system also was developed and housed in PS University. Right side, if you see the various component, this is the camera use, this is the ground system, and this is the onboard computer which does all the electronics function. And this is the actuators. This is called the magnetic actuator used for this one. And then the onboard computer. This is the onboard computer. This is the battery, lithium ion battery cell. This is what is used. And these are the different cells. They are mounted all around. It's a cubical structure, but it was weighing around 5 kg. It was not standard CubeSat architecture. It was our own architecture because of an advantageous or more efficient for particular our applications. So that is what a lot of softwares have been developed, which also provide opportunity to monitor by the student on regular basis. Later on, different version of PySet was also designed to carry out various particular advancement in the area of ADCS using star sensor, using reaction wheels, and different payload conditions. So, with this, I'll come to a end of today's lectures. Now, if you have any questions, please go ahead. I will stop sharing, and then I will come to, yes. Yes, please. Yeah, you go ahead, tell your name, and let me just listen. Whatever the curious questions you have, whether you learned today, what is nanosatellite, what is cost, approximate. It is always not a fixed thing. These are all tentative numbers. How much time is required? Who are the people using? What are the application? You can think some new applications. Okay. Now let me take some questions. Anybody?
Sir, Anirudh, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, do we have to consider aerodynamic like shape, like for an
Yes.
aircraft we
Yes.
usually use for aerodynamic shape, no, sir, like for lift and
Yes.
drag. So
Yes.
similarly for a satellite, do we need to consider those things as well?
Yes, aerodynamic considerations are there. See, if you do not consider aerodynamic thing, the disturbance torque will be very high. Okay, but however, if you have enough actuator, you can compensate that one. But suppose if you are doing something which like one of the experiment we did, like bringing back the satellite to ground, okay, which was aerodynamically stable. So there are technique which are making satellite stable aerodynamically, passive stabilization. Then the shape plays very important role. Okay, one has to design. But however, if you design aerodynamic, particular for near Earth, I'm not talking geostationary, geosynchronous satellite. They are 36,000. Their aerodynamic effect is almost negligible. But for near Earth satellite, 400, 500,000 kilometer, aerodynamics also plays important role. If you can minimize the disturbance, it will be a good thing. Next. Next, anything? Okay. So the next lecture will be first tomorrow. I think 10:55 it starts, no?
Yes, sir.
So
It will from 11:30, sir.
5
Actually.
or 10:25?
Yes, sir. 10:30, 11 o'clock we can start.
Huh? Can you please repeat? How?
Sir, it starts from 10:55, sir, tomorrow.
Yeah, 10:55.
Yes, sir. From 11 we can start, sir. From 11 to 12:30 we can go ahead, sir.
Yeah, 10:15. Yeah, we start by 11 o'clock. We can tell.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Malik will be giving the system engineering aspect,
Okay,
and
sir.
you will be happy to know he has also spent, like me, whole life in ISRO, and he has been the person who has done lot of design of the satellites. Okay, so you can interact, but I would request that students should interact with him. Okay, learn, because whatever the material is there, that anyway will send it to you. Okay, you can study this part, and you can interact with him. He has experience quite a lot, in particular, specifically in control design of both geosynchronous and near Earth satellites. Okay, he was a deputy director in ISRO before retirement. Now, just for the benefit of all of you, I requested him Why don't you just talk about? So he will talk primarily on the first module. Now, nanosatellite part I have covered. Some parts he might repeat because the different person sometimes will take the similar thing, but he will concentrate on system engineering and mission aspect, orbital mechanics, and control system. Okay. Afterward, we'll go for the payload. Okay. It's okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Karthik, I will send you. You can also send me. Otherwise, any student can send me. My email is there.
Yes, sir.
You can send me this thing, so I can share all the slide. That will become useful for your exam. Also, you purchase that book. That book is not very expensive. I don't know. I think Professor Ramkumar knows how much is that cost. So you can approach through your department. They may arrange fast. Okay.
Sure, sir. Definitely. Sir. We'll try to do our best. Sir.
That will be a good thing for all of you to keep it with you in case any reference you do. Okay.
Yes. So you can send the notes to me, sir. I'll just make sure I'll put it in the student drive. Sir. Yes.
Yeah, Karthik, huh?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, I will send it to you.
Sure.
Huh?
Sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the session, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Any feedback from students, you please let me know so that next time I can correct it. Okay.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Sir.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, sir.
all the students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.